Okay, I decided what we're going to sketch tonight. Tonight we're going to sketch a little car. We're going to sketch some small hatchback interior, which is called Fiat 500. Can you guys see my screen well?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to say that I don't mind if any one of you would keep microphone on so that I'll make sure that internet is there. Because when everything is quiet, it's difficult to tell if there is internet or not.
Okay.
All right. So personally, like I said before, I usually prefer to start with building up the context. Let's say we could check we could add probably some more images here from Pinterest.
I love Pinterest. Such a great resource.
Well, sometimes it's a little bit, how to say, it's nice, but at the same time, everybody uses it. That's the danger of it. So sometimes it's okay to switch to something different like this. I love it as well. Manouche. Oh, there was something. Oh, that's something interesting. Not as traditional as, let's say, I love this kind of combination of texture and color. So let's do it. First, let's start very dirty, something very dirty. There are many ways on how to start interior. I personally like doing it directly from perspective, like a Vasca. In Italian, it's called Vasca. Sorry, it's a kind of saloon sketch, which normally includes instrument panel and door panels, and also partly the seats. Let's say this could be one approach. This is the city car. Then you might consider making the floor a little bit lower. So it means to say everything will have kind of vertical movement or vertical rhythm. All right, here we can erase this. Then you set a couple of seats. Like, no fear. It's okay that the lines are hairy, that they are dirty. It's all right, because it's just the first layer in Photoshop. Okay, question. Will we need instrument panel in the future, guys? What do you think?
Maybe just a screen to control the features of the car when it's driven, autonomously.
I think we'll need a variation of it. I don't think it's going to be the traditional instrument panel that we're used to and accustomed to, but something to house some sort of control center.
Yeah, I agree with RJ. I think it's it'll become more like a piece of furniture, something that we choose to have there, and it'll be I think brands will be able to take advantage of opportunities to pick and choose what kinds of instruments for control they offer with their cars in terms of physicality versus virtuality of experience.
I think Canoe is probably the one that's experimenting the most right now, and I think in current vehicles the instrument panel is also a structural part of the vehicle. The cross-car beam, which ties together the crash structure between the doors, and in a platform like Canoe, where the entire crash structure is contained within the skateboard. The need for a traditional, what I call it, the log, the log that goes across the interior, it goes away. And so Canoe, I think, is starting to experiment with the use of space outside of the traditional instrument panel.
So it's about reducing parts as well, yeah. Because now I guess too much. So to design an interior from scratch, they have to pass through maybe hundreds of parts, like unique parts for the interior, and maybe in the future that not gonna be so many.
Right. In fact, when you have to, at least back then, when I was working in Fiat, I remember there were so many departments who, because of the amount of components in the interior. I finished working in Fiat in 2015, and I don't know how the things are, but before that, there has been many departments for engineering in this regard. And yeah, now the things I think are a bit different, because in theory, there is no need for the radio, for example. And radio itself, let's say, I'm talking about the one that I worked with. So it's already in production, so there is no secret in that. It's a kind of big chunky piece that looks like that, which is around 50 millimeters thick. And plus on top of it, you have to include this big box behind it. So you can imagine how much space does it take from your interior in comparison to normal iPad. And anyway.
And what about HVAC in the future interiors? Will HVAC system, it won't disappear, but it's still a huge piece of volume that you have to integrate.
Yes, it's really huge, and it's quite a challenge. I had a lot of let's say hard time, not hard time, but yeah, it was quite a challenge to place the HVAC properly within E300, that Chinese hatchback. It's really huge. It's really big.
I believe Canoe is also they have an entire HVAC module which lives between the front wheels in the skateboard. So all they have to design for each individual vehicle is the ducting.
So it's in the floor as well.
Yeah, it's sort of in the chassis between the front wheels where a traditional engine would be, and then all they have to do is create the ducting to get to the instrument panel.
So they are working not only on the concept part, but on the production and industrialization of this.
Yeah, I have a friend that works there. Yeah, he's working his ass off.
Okay.
Well, Canoe did it right. Canoe did very smart thing by placing it in such area.
Yeah, startup companies like Canoe have the opportunity to completely rethink the architecture of a vehicle, whereas traditional car companies are usually limited by existing methods It's much more difficult and expensive for them to adapt to a new architecture than it is for a startup company.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Anyway, there is also another approach of starting with interior. You can start also with simple sketch of idea for the IP. Let's say even if we don't have IP in the future, one might consider utilizing still certain certain elements that IP provides still, such as air vents. We need to cool ourselves somehow, right? And also IP at the end, if we're talking about really traditional brand, there is certain elements that provide the identity of the brand, such as the round screen and also overall elliptical movement, which could be read also here on this door panel and IP. Basically, Fiat 500 interior is an ellipse in itself. So start with ellipse. So we could think about, let's say, how to improve the life quality for the driver. Let's say, how about the air? Does the air vent have to be necessarily just an air vent? Or maybe it could be something more to that. This could be also, let's say, humidifier. As well as air purifier. There's very cool product from Dyson. It looks more or less like this. It looks like the cylinder divided into two levels. One of them is responsible for purifying the air. Another one is responsible for humidifying the air. And then on top of that, there is this big round patented vent that sprays out the air. So why don't we try to implement something like this in our interior here? Okay. I don't like this shape. Let's make it different. Let's make it more simple. Does the steering wheel have to be like this? Maybe now. Okay, let's say this is the kind of idea one. Let's go for idea two. I remember a long time ago, Fiat had one interior, the IP, with almost no, with a huge pocket on the passenger side. So let's say, how about this time? We could do some kind of shelf on the right side. Sometimes it's okay just to paint also like this. It's ready.
Yeah, she dropped those out.
Now let's pick up black. Yeah, let's try right now to think about elliptical theme, where the ellipse, or half of the ellipse gets spread all across the IP. Integrating with the yet traditional air vents, but at the same time, this perimeter could graphically merge with the lower part of the IP, which potentially could become a kind of pocket, kind of bathtub for the object. Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you well.
Normally, I usually prepare several rough sketches like this, very rough, without thinking on how the lines would look like before applying some ideas onto, let's say, more final, more definite design. Also, sometimes when I do sketch, I just automatically start thinking about layout. Let's say now we still have here traditional screen for the speed. And here we have air vent here, air vent there. We need to think also about, let's say, potentially new layout as well. How about, let's say, instrument panel that would have different layout, yet recognizable as Fiat 500. As we understand now, the main dilemma for Fiat 500 is the ellipse, which is expressed also in their font, like something like that. And also expressed very well in exterior too. So let's try to drop some more ideas about it. Let's say, what about making an IP, which would be more like a table rather than an instrument panel itself. Need more space. Some more. Now let's set the seats. Let's set more or less the floor. Next layer. Okay, hypothesize that this one will be our IP. It will be completely flat on the top. And cable. So we could hypothesize, let's say, another layout on top of it, which will be carrying our interface. Such as instruments. That's it. But here it's going to be like more or less a symbolic thing. Just to recognize that this is 500. How about air vents that pop up? It's the lamps in the cars from the 90s. Because at the end of the day, this car is supposed to be kind of playful, like a toy. It's not a serious car. It's all about fun. And just as another traditional element, we could think about it as an ellipse or circle. And what happens? Ellipse is better. Now let's check the perspective. Okay. Okay, here I can see one thing is that the area of gear shifter is a little bit too close, because basically here nearby the seats we're supposed to place the armrest, and in the center it must be wide enough for both passengers, and on the right side ideally should be on the side like door panels. It ideally must be repeating the situation on the console with the armrest. But this kind of thing doesn't happen that often, but we should be striving to repeat the position of the armrest on the doors and on the console. Ideally, they should be symmetric. In practice, it never happens like that, almost never. But we should be striving to do that. Then in the process, we could also think about what section will it have each of these objects that we place here. It's okay. Keep going. It's the floor here. All right. Now, say we've got one theme. Let's try to draw something a bit more precise on top of it. And it's okay to implement some minor changes. Design. Let's think also about the let's think about our infotainment. I would personally consider using not infotainment, but kind of holder for cell phone or tablet or both. Hello, guys. Can you hear me? Oh, how long time ago did it happen?
I can hear you though.
Oh. Oh, let's see. Sorry about this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's inspiring me to practice ellipses like nuts.
Well, it's just part of the job.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Anyway, I don't know what time did the disconnect happen, guys. I hope for a moment. Okay, basically, what I do usually, I just do a lot of, my approach is like this. I do a lot of dirty sketches like this, and then on top of each sketch, I try to draw something else on top of it, a little bit cleaner. And sometimes if I consider implementing new idea, because it can arrive during the process, naturally speaking. So basically, I'm trying to modify piece by piece. For example, here in previous sketch that is half transparent, I have circles like round air vents that pop out like cars, like old cars, and the round circle here, which is indicator of the information, which is kind of family feeling part of the family of 500, and elliptical table. Boom, that's it. And now I'm trying to, let's say, modify this design by finding different clues for this interior. One of which, let's say, would be the cell phone holder or a tablet holder in center of the screen. Since it has to be in the area of Cambridge, then it must be kind of standing out in the center of our IP. It's inevitable. And let's suppose that hello, is there a connection?
We can
Yeah.
you cut
Okay,
out again though.
all right. Let's suppose that, let's say, Fiat decided to start collaboration with Dyson and applied some styling cues from Dyson into its interior and maybe some part of their technology. Let's try to think what would happen in this case. In this case, the main styling view will be not ellipse anymore, but something similar, but with pure radiuses at the end. Per circle, kind of circles at the end. And here there will be our air vents, which would resemble the design of Dyson products. Integrated into our negative surface of instrument panel. And here, instead of traditional circle, we might have this kind of figure again, similar to ellipse. Okay, let's give it a bit of color. Yeah, it's because, like I said, I hypothesized the scenario in which Fiat will decide collaboration with Dyson Airvents. I think it would really fit to their styling language, and maybe it could also refresh it somehow. But I like this current interior for 500. It's nice. Maybe looking at how modern interior design gets impacted by product design. I mean, most of car designers, they will search for inspiration on Pinterest these days. So maybe in the future, we could also use these kind of products in our interiors, which could seamlessly get integrated in our saloons. You know? Check a little bit the perspective. Yeah, this way I think is better. Once again. All right, this could work. This is gonna work. Let's make it slightly lighter, like this. Maybe a bit more saturated. Slightly lighter. Okay, then. So here we have two options. One is like this, another one is like that. Which one do you guys like? Which one?
The
do you think
the
works
cleaner
better?
one, the second one.
That one.
Yep.
Second one. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's good. Go with it.
Mhm. All right, let's go for second one. Now there is one thing that I think we could also explore some more. I don't know how much time do we have, Eric?
Are you, Eric? Are you recording this? Okay, I'm gonna have to cut out because I have to get back to work before the day's out. But yeah, and I'll catch you you guys later on this week, I guess.
Yeah, and yeah. So I was going to put it up on YouTube.
Perfect. All right. Thanks.
What we could do is, Roman, is really just focus today on the sketching. I think you've done a great job of showing how you lay out the perspectives and how you how you set up the proportions and the perspectives and everything, and start to get some themes going, and then probably over the next week we can get more into the rendering techniques and things like that. So and then also think about you could always record something and put it up on our Facebook page too.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be really helpful. But
Yeah, to be able to see your process.
I got to jump out around 3, so I got 12 more minutes.
Mhm.
To be able to see your rendering process, Romain, would be awesome. Like just to watch you really flesh one out and put some color on it and some detail.
Mhm.
All right, let's concentrate on that in this case. All right, basically, the way how renders goes is pretty simple. It's almost a mechanical job. Basically, I've started with several steps. Like one is after you set up your design, more or less, you start with color blocking. Okay, there's connection. Cool. All right, here it goes. Can we scale it a little bit? And rotate. Let's choose another one. Liquids radius. Okay, almost there. Before we start color blocking, almost there. Okay, now let's check our lines. Let's treat them. And we're erasing some unnecessary lines. You can also add element of the blueprint in here by enhancing the silhouette of separated object by a thicker line. So it would look more like technical drawing.
Want to tricks on look forward to working with you over the next 3 weeks.
Pardon? Hello?
I was just going to say I look forward to working with you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I've got to jump out. Roman, thanks so much for showing us some tips and tricks today, and I'm looking forward to working with you over the next 3 weeks.
All right, RJ, nice to hear that. I'm looking forward to work with you too. So,
all right, take care, guys.
Thanks, RJ. Have a great weekend.
thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye, RJ. Thank you. Yeah, that's not good. All right, here, this line must be slightly corrected. Right. First of all, let's correct our error here. Okay. Okay, need to control line a little bit better so that it will not be totally straight, and at the same time it will be banana line. help. All right, now let's just trace one more component and start our blocking. Save the file. Okay. So, okay.
I think we lost Roman.
Yeah, what happened?
Maybe he's. Yeah. Yep. Looks good.
Have a lot of precision with that technique.
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Oh. Was there disconnect? Okay, I see. Basically, what I'm doing right now is just color blocking everything with the flat color. So just finish tracing everything, and then we need to block the colors, block the tones, like which element will have which color. That's our work right now. Just a second, I need to close the window. Так. Okay, here we go. Deselect this part. Here, we select this one, then subtract this and this. This part here will be made of, let's say, home. So we can mark it just as gray. Okay. You guys see the stuff that is happening on the screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, here we could think what to do. on this area inside. Actually start with black. Let's make it become more gray. So later we could apply some nice texture to it. Okay, after finishing the color blocking, we can start with the shadows. You can use both normal mode or overlay mode. It's up to your taste. Or multiply. I prefer multiply. So I create a separate layer for the shadows. Speaking about shadows for the color, I personally don't like using the black on the area of color because, in my opinion, it looks a bit dirty. It's quite dirty, actually. So what I prefer to do usually is using multiply, take same color, and reverse it. Because let's say if it is one color, then it becomes cool color after reversion. So I think it looks a bit more natural. So that's why for the beige part, we're going to apply this kind of color here for the shadow of the beige part. Like the rule in the academical painting. Like that rule is one colored objects have cool shadows and vice versa.
What was that rule again? Can you repeat that?
Well, it's from academical painting. Basically, the warm colored objects, which is the surrounding of our interior, is beige. So it means to say it's going to have it must have kind of cool shadows. And the opposite thing will happen with cool color. But the cool color will have kind of warmer shadows underneath. So I would recommend strongly for you guys to use the colors for the shadows, not black one. Black one goes well with gray coloring, with neutral color like gray. But when it gets applied to the chromatic colors, like this one, or blue, or red, it starts getting dirty.
If you look at Instagram photo filters, they enhance that relationship of warm and cool. You're talking about they take a normal photo and they enhance that.
Yeah, that's true. That's also true.
That's what makes them so vibrant.
Yeah. let's say, let's have some shadow here. First of all, let's exclude those objects. Okay, now it's softer. And if you want to add a little bit of depth here, you can simply just duplicate the layer, the same layer, because it's already multiply mode, and erase whatever is unnecessary. So we will see this more dramatic shadow here. Not necessary to go to use black. Let's mirror it. Okay, let's reduce a little bit the transparency slightly. That's 100%. Yeah, let's keep it 55. Yeah. Let's go further to details. Apply some shadows to the components. First of all, kill the shadow here. And here, since it's a cool object, we can just use the same color as our ambient is the beige color. All right. Then internal area, our Dyson vents. Let's also kill the shadow here. Subtract. Okay, if we applied really light, let's say light shaded color for the shadow on the light object, we can enhance it by burning tool. Within reasonable limits, certainly. The shadow here. And add some more shadow. Yeah. Here I basically try to divide the shadow in 3 categories: the darkest one, the medium one, and no shadow at the top. However, we might consider using a razor to get some gradual feeling to that shadow area. And also, we definitely need some shadow here. Okay, there it's now. And here. There's also another way of creating shadows, just duplicating layers. For example, now I just completely duplicated this layer here with this object. And now I'm just going to start erasing. Here, so subtract selection and element of and slightly average over here. And here we subtract both these elements and subtract the top part of it. So this way we have a chance to build the shadow here. Basically, we're done with tonal work on this object. Almost. Yeah. At least we can read the volume. There's one thing that corrects this one. Here doesn't look nice. And this one. Oh, no. Hello? All right. All right. Okay. Okay, now we just need to apply a bit more shadow here. Let's unrest. Oh, it's not. All right. Okay. Okay, now let's check also our Y0 section. Actually, that's something that should have been done a bit earlier. So let's say we could do two things. We could do either like traditional cars do, something like that, or we could basically think about something just been more like lately trend of latest years. Do something which goes a little bit deeper inside. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that our IP cover might go a little bit inside there and then raise up again. Up. So it will create some kind of a step here, but at the same time, the surface will visually unite all interior at one, and it will help us to enhance the floating effect of the instrument panel. So basically, we're going to do something like this. Just for the sake of comparison, I'm gonna put cut line here like that, and you will see what's the difference between them. You will see what I mean now. Basically like this and like this. I would go for this one. Looks a bit lighter. Also, actually lower it even more. So we could make the wall that is far away get inclined a little bit, so it would take some certain amount of the highlight. Highlights are usually not a good thing, but at the same time, this kind of highlight here will get united with door panels visually. So it will help us to reduce the size of this instrument panel here at the front. Also, when we work with paths, we have to be careful. This kind of peak here should not be way too high compared to this one, otherwise the line will not be seamless. Right, let's the third line here. This one will go this way. Now let's start with some highlights. Okay, since this is the closest object to us, so I made the contrast here. What I like also about this mode of work in Photoshop, the overlay mode, is that you can apply actually not only the light, but you can also use black in order to enhance the shadows, a little bit of depth on top of it. In this way, in this color mode, in overlay, the black does not affect colors as in normal mode, but only enhances the depth. Okay, let's pick up the shadow color again. Then go to the real part of IP cover. To subtract selection. And apply the color again. reduce the flow to make it softer. Okay, let's make the steering wheel slightly more narrow according to latest abilities. Okay, now let's take Dodge tool to accelerate the work. Let's lighten up this dark area. Sometimes you can also switch between light color dodge and color burn by pressing Alt simultaneously. Let's take mid tones now for burn tool. All right. can read pictures now. Now let's deal with white part. Yeah. And just pick up this color of the shadow that we have already and draw it on top of it. And then slightly lighting area, light area. Okay, let's think about door panels, which are normally following the instrument panel. First thing, we can underline this volume that we have here on top. But for now, since it's our first sketch, we don't need to go that much into details. Everything, like, we don't have to really draw all the buttons and door latches either. We just need to capture the theme of our interior design. Hey, Eric, is the time up?
Yeah, well, I have to go soon, so I don't know.
Mhm.
Do you want to?
Mhm.
I've been recording this. I don't know if you want to. I could send you what I've got recorded, and then if you want, you could complete it and record the rest, and we could do like a quick time lapse, or we could do a full live stream. Either way, and that might be the way to do it. And then we could just post it on Facebook.
Mhm. I think I could complete it, and then I mean we could. It's up to you guys. What do you prefer?
Yeah.
What do you guys think is useful? Maybe time lapse is okay because you saw how I work.
Yeah, I mean, this is great though. I mean, there's just so many simple tricks and tips that and all of a sudden it's starting to become very dimensional, right? It's gone from being very graphic to very dimensional, and I always have a hard time with interiors when it comes to light and shadow. And I always tend, like with exteriors, I do lots of contrast, right? Whereas with interiors, you want to turn down the contrast so it's not so dark and muddy. And I love this technique of just putting a slight warm or cool shadow versus the black shadow.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. So it's up to you guys. If you prefer, I can just finish the sketch by myself and record the process of finishing it. And then after that, I could merge it with Eric's file. So it will be complete time lapse.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, let's do that.
So-
Let's do that.